We are following that breaking news right now in Dilworth, where crews are on the scene of that large house fire that may have started with an explosion this morning.
WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane has been talking to crews there on scene. Richard, we just got an update from firefighters about 3 minutes ago.
Yeah, we did. They're still investigating what happened here. Not going as far as to say that this was definitely an explosion, but they are still investigating. I'll step out of the way, let you see. They're pretty much wrapping up the scene here. They're just going about the point of making sure that there are no hot spots or anything like this. They're going from what neighbors have said. About 6:16, they got a call of a possible explosion at this house right here in Dilworth. That just went up. They're saying they're investigating as a possible explosion. One of the folks in one of the houses adjacent to this house that went up, they actually took a person out of that house. That person was released. They're going to be okay. There was no one inside that place, that house that is just gone. Neighbors told us that they heard what sounded like a loud explosion. Then when they looked out, they saw the place engulfed in flames. Just shocking to a lot of neighbors to one moment be in their homes, the next moment see flames all up and shooting out of the sky. I was several blocks away when I saw the smoke billowing up in the air. When I came close to the scene here, spoke to a number of residents who told me what they saw, what they heard this morning. All of them reporting pretty much the same thing, that loud explosion followed by seeing that home engulfed in flames. Now, we did speak to the fire department. The assistant chief talked to us about basically what he knows right now. This is still an active investigation trying to determine exactly what caused this house to catch on fire. There was a second alarm fire from manpower. Had about 60 crew members out here battling this fire, which took about an hour to get under control. It's now under control. Of course, neighbors we spoke to report seeing this fire. I don't know if we have that interview that we spoke to some neighbors about. Do we have that interview? I don't know if we do or not. Okay, so we'll just tell you what most of them say. They just said that they heard that loud explosion, then they saw the flames. Neighbors houses away report seeing glass break in their homes and other homes. People heard the shaking in the neighborhood, and we can tell you the good news in all of this: no loss of lives. So let's listen to what at least some folks that we spoke to had to say about what they heard right as this house seemed to explode.
We were sleeping. It was about 6:14 in the morning, and we heard a big explosion, and we didn't know what was happening. So we walked outside, and we see all the smoke. So we drive over here, and the house is in flames. So it looks like it was for sale. So yeah, I don't know if anyone was in there, but the house next door kind of got whiff of the flames, and I think the people were outside. So that's all we know so far.
What was going through your mind when did you hear it?
It was scary. We thought someone was in our house because it was so loud, and we walked outside.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
It shook the house?
Yeah, the noise shook our house. We live a couple streets over, and we heard it.
We live right across this greenway, so not too far from us, but it was loud.
It was loud?
Yeah.
Okay, the firefighters came. Is it out, or what's the situation now?
Yeah, they got there quick and they're responding to it. They got the water going, so looks like they're making progress.
I have never heard an explosion like that, and I've never seen a house engulfed in flames like that before. Like it seemed like instantly. Yeah, we're literally in our pajamas.
Yeah.
But you can laugh a little bit because no one was in there apparently, right?
Yeah, everyone seems safe.
Everyone seems safe.
Yep.
All the neighbors were out, so everyone was together.
Yeah, and those neighbors were in a good mood because they knew what we've later learned, that no one was inside that house that exploded. The people who were in the houses on either side were able to get out, and those broken windows and glass and other things did not seriously injure anyone. Of course, the fire department says this is an ongoing investigation into what caused this blast. this neighborhood, a lot of folks we spoke to more than just those ladies there. We spoke to a man who lives right across the street from this. He was telling me about hearing that loud bang. We spoke to people whose yards we're standing in. They heard it. They came out and saw. Both of these folks sharing videos and pictures with us about what they heard and what they saw, saying it was just unbelievable, just seeing the flames shoot up in the sky. I saw it from blocks away. The ending of the fire, as the firefighters were able to put this out from blocks away. And Ben, you were giving a kind of a description of the neighborhood just for perspective. I was at one of the parking decks used by the hospital over here, and that far away near Freedom Park's entrance, and I could actually still see the smoke as I was getting over here and then getting closer. You could see the remnants of the flames as they were putting them out. So that's how big this was, and that's how much the neighbors were dealing with. And the good news again in all of this, no loss of life. Of course, we'll have much more on this throughout the day, but for now, right now, we're in Dilworth. This is Richard Devane. We'll send it back to you.
Richard, it's worth remembering, and I know I don't have to tell you this because you covered these things. While we're still learning about what exactly happened this morning, some say it was an explosion by most neighbors' accounts.
Right.
We've covered these situations in the past. Just a few years ago, the house up in Mooresville. A few years before that, a house in Ballantyne, and often these sorts of things can prove to be fatal.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct, Ben. The house in Mooresville went up. It was the home owned by an NFL football player. His father passed in that house. Lost his life in that house. I know some of the people, some of the family members pretty well in that situation. So that was a tough one to talk about, yeah. And then, of course, before that, a few years before that, we had the situation in Ballantyne that, of course, we covered where there was a house explosion, and we watched as one person lost their life being trapped in the rubble in that particular house as they did rescue efforts to get one out, and unfortunately, the other person was not able to. So a lot of times we see things like this happen, and you can hold out hope for the best. In this situation, we can say that fortunately no loss of life. It could have been, as we often say, a lot worse, and anytime you can say that in this job, we're happy about that.
For sure, and of course the firefighters are going to have a lengthy investigation determining the cause of this fire or subsequent explosion, the reason that this happened. Absolutely. We know that you had to move for quite some time because, as you said, safety is the priority in situations like this, especially when you're talking about explosions and the ripple effects, and not just the houses there, but as you mentioned, a very busy part of Dilworth there. So Richard, thank you so much for giving us that latest information.